Hi. So Dandanaka series edition 14 is on, and today we have a very interesting story that I would like to share with you all. In fact, how this story came to me itself is very interesting. As usual, when it is time for Dandanaka series or Endro Endro Kada, I start breaking my head as to what I would want to talk about. And until today, it has always been something that has come to me, and I felt very strongly about it, and that is what I had shared with you. So, like you all know, by this time you have been watching my videos and the stories that I tell. I'm very, very particularly fond of folklore and mythology, folk tales and mythology, because I believe that it has answers to most of the unanswered questions that we have inside our head. Well, folk tales do give a lot of idea about what and how and why and everything else, but mythology in fact explains to us things that are beyond our understanding. What I especially love about mythology is that um, anything that has happened at any point of time in mythology would have a relation to something that has already happened. So there is always a connect. So this story has happened because somebody at some point of time either gave a boon or a curse, and that has to come into power, and that is why this story happened. So that kind of a relation happens between different stories in mythology, or I would say mythology is indeed stories inside stories inside stories inside stories that help us understand a lot of things about things which we otherwise don't understand. So that is one of the reasons I love mythology. uh, in fact, today I was not in a position or anything to tell and talk anything about mythology. In fact, I wanted to do something about horses, and I would tell you why. Because a friend of mine had done a beautiful session that involved a lot of horses and the inner meaning of what a horse could be in a in any culture and all that. So I was very curious to know more about it, and I thought, okay, why don't I go and tell stories about horses? So definitely horses gave a lot of meaning to different cultures and different mm, you know different cultures and different people, and I wanted to bring in some aspects of that horse. So, as usual, I was looking for stories in mythology and folklore, and that is when I came across a beautiful horse from Indian mythology called as the Uchchaishravas. Now, I thought I will tell you the story of Uchchaishravas, but the story of Uchchaishravas has got something else to it, and that something else was so beautiful that I ended up deciding to tell the story of that something beautiful which happened because of Uchchaishravas. In fact, you know what? Horse in any culture also meant wish, desire, your desire to fly, your desire to do things in life. So, horse was a symbolism of desire, and it was also the symbolism of speed in many cultures, Buddhist culture, Indian culture, right? So I would say this horse Uchchaishravas has also led me to get into the that my desire of telling a story that I relate to. And thank you Uchchaishravas for giving me this today. So when I was looking for stories about Uchchaishravas, this is what I found. So this led to me the story of the fight between two sisters as to who was better. Was it the elder one or the younger one? Well, they were sisters, but there was so much jealousy and rivalry between those two. They were married to the same man. Kashyapa was his name. He was the wish-born son of Lord Brahma, and he married the sisters, the daughters of Daksha, called as Kadru and Vinatha. Now, Kadru and Vinatha were both beautiful, but they were so envious and jealous of each other. Every time one sister wanted to exceed over the other in anything else. But Kashyapa was very pleased by their love and affection, and so he decided to give both the sisters boons. He said, "You ask me what you want, and I shall give you. I'm very pleased." Kadra said, "I would like to have 1,000 sons with great strength, incomparable strength and valor, and people should be not be able to do anything to them at all. I want sons like that." "So be it," said Kashyapa. And when it was Vinata's turn, Vinata said, "I don't want 1,000 sons. I just want 2 sons who would be as great as my sister's 1,000 sons. Just 2 sons, but their strength and valor has to be comparable, incomparable, just like the 1,000 sons of my sister." "So be it," said Kashyapa. And now that was how Kadru got the 1,000 snakes as his sons. The Nagas were her sons. Sons born to Kashyapa and Kadru were the Nagas. 1,000 sons full of poison, incomparable strength. And Vinata was waiting, and she gave birth to 2 eggs. She called out to her maids and asked them to take care of the eggs really carefully. Keep them in warm containers and take good care of them. I'm waiting to see my sons," she said. 500 years passed by. Yes, mythology is like that. The time is huge. 500 years passed by, and Vinata was getting very restless. She was seeing the 1,000 sons of her sister in glory, incomparable strength, and she could not wait to see her 2 sons. And so one day she just went and she opened one container and broke an egg. And there she saw one of her sons was just half formed. The son was so angry. He looked at his mother and he said, "How can you be so impatient? See, I'm now half formed. I curse you, mother. I curse you that you will end up being a slave. You will end up being a slave," said he. "Don't do anything to my brother. At least let him come out fully," said the son. And also said, "It will be because of my brother that you will be able to come out of this curse from slavery. So let my brother grow fully. Wait for another 500 years, said the first son. And so Vinata waited. And when it was time, the egg hatched and out came a bird. A bird that was glowing like the fire. That even Agni thought that something terrible has happened. All the celestial beings, Indra, the Gandharvas and everybody were looking at the light that was coming, and they could not make out who was there. The light was so bright, and Indra was feeling very scared. What is this light that is so bright, brighter than Agni himself? And that was when Agni said, that is the son of Vinata, the son that was born with incomparable strength, the son who has all the powers in this world. And at that time, Indra's heart shook a bit. Do you know why? Because when Kashyapa was performing a yajna to have sons, he had asked all the celestial beings to bring fuel for his sacrifice, for his yajna. All the celestial rishis and the gods got him fuel. Indra got them a big mountain of trees for the firewood. Well, there were also a group of celestial rishis who were not even the size of the thumb. They were a group of celestial rishis, and their names, they are called the Valakilyas. And now these Valakilya rishis, very small in stature but very great in buddhi, bought just a twig of palasa leaves since they were very small. Now Indra, looking at them, made fun of them, and they got very angry and cursed Indra. They said, "It will be the son of Kashyapa that will lead to your slaughter. He will be the Indra of Indras," they said. And now that scared Indra really, really bad. He immediately went to Brahma and he prayed and he said, "You do something about this curse. Now this cannot happen. There cannot be two Indras in this world. Please do something." And Brahma pitched in and said, "All right. That son will be initially an enemy to you, but later he will become friend. And if you are the king of gods, he will be the king of all the flying things in this world, the animals and the birds, the flying creatures. He will be the Indra of the flying creatures," said Brahma. That consoled Indra a bit. But today, when the egg hatched and the fire was not, it was so bright, his heart missed a beat out of fear. And all the gods, the celestial beings, prayed to that sun. They closed their eyes and said, "We are not able to see you. We are not able to take your brightness. Please reduce your brightness for us, O son of Kashyapa, and give us your darshan." Heeding to which, the light came down and they saw in front of them a beautiful bird. A beautiful bird that looked so majestic. But in comparable strength, yes, there was also a curse attached. He was still the son of Vinuta, and Vinuta was a slave. And you know to whom? And for that, I will have to tell you the story of the horse that I had decided to tell first. Uchashravas. Now, I told you, right? Kadru and Vinuta were all the time teasing each other to see who was the better of the two. And it was on one such day that Kadru said, "Vinata, have you ever heard of the horse called Uchashravas that came out from the ocean of milk as it was churned?" Of course, I have heard of it. It is flawless white is what I have heard. Right from head to the hair in the tail, it is pure white is what I have heard, said Vinata. And now Kadru wanted to tease her sister. She said, no, that is not the case. You know what? I have heard that indeed the horse is white, but it has got jet black tail. And Vinata said, no, it is not true. I'm positive that the horse is completely white. In that case, let us have a bet. Whoever is wrong will have to be the other person's slave, said Kadru. Vinata was very sure that Uchashravas was completely white, and so she immediately agreed. But then Kadru was a little scheming. She knew that the tail of the horse was also white, but she didn't want to lose this bet. She looked into her 1,000 sons and said, now I order you to go and cover the tail of Uchashravas so that his tail appears black, and that will make your mother win the bet, said she. Now some of the snakes were not very eager to participate in this bet. It was against ethics, you see. They said, no, we don't want to do this. It cannot be done. And that angered Kadru. She said, in that case, if you disobey me as sons, I curse you. Not very sooner, most of you will be destroyed by fire. And when Kadru let out that statement, Brahma said, so be it. And that made Kashyapa's heart miss a beat. After all, they are his sons too. He ran to Brahma and he said, please don't do this. Why this? Why this? Why should I lose all my sons? And Brahma said, well, your sons are filled with poison that would be of harm to the world. It has to be neutralized. And this is a way of nature to neutralize it. But they are my sons, said Kashyapa. Now, Kashyapa was also Brahma's son. To see his son in distress, the father was not very happy. And so he taught Kashyapa a mantra that would take away the poison that is done by the snake. And that is how they say, in a bet between Kashyapa and his son Takshaka, Kashyapa won because he was able to use this mantra and take away the poison from the banyan tree that he cast the poison to. See how many stories inside stories, right? But eventually, the snake's sons agreed to help the mother, and the tail of the tail of Uchishravas became jet black in color when all the black snakes went and wound themselves up in the tail. That made Vinata lose the bet and become Kadru's and her 1,000 sons' slave. Not only her. Now the beautiful bird that emerged out of the egg also had to be the slave of these people and had to obey anything that they said. They would just treat the bird the way they wanted to. They wanted to go to a better place. So Kadru and all the 1,000 sons would just sit on top of the bird and they would say, take us to a place which is very safe. We don't find this place very safe. And the bird would fly and fly and fly high in the sky, taking them to every other place. No, not this, no, not this, no, not this. This is not fine, this is not fine. And finally, he put them in a beautiful island that was very, very nice. The island has a name. Let me tell you what the name of the island is. It is called the DANDANAKA island, which was filled with beautiful trees and mountains and rivers and very nice place for a snake to be. But then they were not satisfied. They called out to the bird and said, take us to a different place. And that made the heart of the bird cry. He looked out to his mother and said, why, mother? Why should this happen? Why are we being treated like this? And Vinata had no answer. All she could say was, that is how life is. But the snakes heard their half-brother, the bird, talk like this and said, if you want to get rid of the slavery, then go get the Amrit for us from the king of gods, Devendra. Amrit, the immortality nectar. The moment you give us, we will let you go of the slavery bond that you are in with us. In that case, I will do that, said the bird, and set out to get the Amrit. But he knew that he had to fly so hard, so heavily, go miles and miles, and he need to eat so much. He went to his mother and said, where do I find that much food? And his mother, they say, gave him the place where resided the Nishada tribes. The Nishada tribes were supposed to be evil in nature. She said, go and feed on them, but remember not to feed on any Brahmin. A Brahmin is a person who is pure at heart, who is very knowledgeable. Eating a Brahmin is not correct. And so the bird went and fed on Nishada tribe. But his hunger was not satisfied. He went to his father Kashyapa and asked, what do I do? Well, there are two sages who had become elephant and tortoise because of the curse that they gave to each other. Go eat them up. Your hunger will be pacified and may you get victory in whatever you do, said Kashyapa. And that's exactly what the bird did and flew towards Devaloka. And when the bird reached the gates of the Devaloka, the weapons of the gods got out of wherever they were kept and trembled in fear. Devendra was so scared to see this. His thunderbolt, the Vajrayuda, was shivering. He called out to Brihaspati and said, "What is happening? Can you please tell us what is happening? Why is this happening? This has never happened before. Even when the Asuras came and struck us, what is it?" And that was when the sage said, "Out in your doors is Kashyapa's son, the incomparable in strength. He has come to fetch the Amrit." Devendra didn't know what to do. He picked up all his soldiers and his weapons, and there was a terrible fight that raged between a single bird and an army of Devas. After killing so many of the warriors, all the gods fled to safety, they said. Some flew towards the east, some to the west, some to the north, and some to the south. And finally, Garuda was able to. Did I give out the. Yes, I gave it out. Garuda was his name. And do you know why he was called as Garuda? After he ate the elephant and the tortoise, and his hunger was satisfied, he wanted to rest, and he went and sat on the branch of a tree. A very huge branch of a huge tree. But the branch could not bear the weight of Garuda, and it fell down. But as it was falling down, the bird noticed that there were rishis the size of the thumb doing penance in this. I told you what the rishis' name were. They're all the celestial rishis called the Valakilyas. He picked up the branch and he started to fly and kept them in safety. And that is how he got his name Garuda. Garuda also meant the great bearer of weight. And now, when he was there in the gates of Devaloka, Brihaspati announced, "Outside is Garuda, the son of Kashyapa, who is destined to be your enemy." Indra shook in fear. And when Garuda slayed all the warriors, all the other gods went in different direction, praying for the good to happen. Garuda, in his mind, he was very clear that he needed to come out of the slavery. He went near the Amrit. Well, the Amrit is divine. It cannot be just taken by anybody. Just like how we see in all the English movies, how everything is guarded in different stages, just like that, the Amrit was surrounded by blazing fire that went so high. What do you think Garuda did? He flew down and opened his huge mouth and took all the rivers and this waters from the rivers and the seas and came and poured it on the fire. The fire disappeared. But he saw blades circulating, not letting Garuda to just go inside. One small movement will just cut him into pieces. But he made himself the smallest and he flew in between the blades and he took out the pot of Amrit and came out to safety. Indra, seeing this, took out his Vajrayudha and flung at him. Well, Garuda knew that the Vajrayudha was made from the bone of a rishi. To pay respect to that, Garuda just lost one feather when the Vajrayudha stuck him in his wings and he flew down. But as he was flying down, he was encountered by none other than Mahavishnu himself. And Mahavishnu said, "Garuda, wait. I understand your pain. I understand the pain of slavery. But this is not the answer to this. You cannot go and take and give the nectar of immortality to your half-brothers. They are evil. And if evil is made to live in this world, there is no point in it. I know you had told your brothers that you would bring the nectar. You still can take it to them, but do something to see that they don't drink it. Get your boon from them, but see that they don't drink it. In that case, and I'm ready to give you any boon that you want," said Vishnu. Garuda said, "I would like to be above you all the time, Vishnu." "Granted," said he. And Garuda took the nectar, but then Vishnu also told him something. The very reason for you and your mother to become a slave is also your half brothers, because they became the snake and wound themselves around Uchashravas's tail, which made it black. Garuda was furious. How could they just cheat him and his mother like this, right? But then it had to happen because of the curse given by the first son. Garuda went down. He kept the pot on the grass and looked at his brothers and said, "Here, I have brought the Amrit. Now free me and my mother from slavery." "You are freed," said them, and they came rushing to drink the pot of Amrit. But then he said, "Wait, you are drinking something that is divine. You need to cleanse yourself before that. Please go and clean yourself." They went, and as they were dipping themselves in the water to take a bath, Indra took this as a chance and snatched the pot of Amrit away and kept it back safely to wherever it had to be. Now, Garuda went back to Vishnu and said, "I have one more thing that I wanted to ask you of. My brothers were evil to me, and I can never forgive them for that. They have done very bad things to me and my mother. Do you really want to have that hatred inside you?" asked Vishnu. "You be my vehicle. I will take care of you," said he. "Yes, I agree to that. But then I request you to say, give me the boon that my brothers will be my food. I would not kill them without any hunger. But if they are coming and going to harm me, I will have to have the upper hand." And that's how they say eagles and snakes are ardent enemies. One thing that is predominant in nature, explained through stories, which has got so much layers into it. That is mythology. And what happened to the curse that Kadru gave her sons, that they would all be destroyed by fire? Well, it happened in Janmajaya's snake sacrifice, where so many snakes were destroyed by the fire. But did Kashyapa lose all his sons? No. Brahma told him that some of his sons who were virtuous and followed the path of truth will still prevail, and the progeny will continue. And that's how they said snakes still live in this world. But whenever a snake and an eagle come into picture, it's always the eagle that has the upper hand. And that is the story that I wanted to tell you all. I'm so glad that the horse, the desire inside me, came through in the form of a horse, Uchashravas. But Uchashravas' story led to this story, which is so beautiful. So now, I know you'll be intrigued to know all the other stories as well. Well, that is the whole point of Dandanaka series. We trigger that spark inside your mind to go and find more. So thank you so much for listening to me. I'm Lavanya Prasad, signing off. I will meet you all with another story for another day. Until then, bye-bye. Next week, we will have Endra Ondra Kada in Tamil. So I will be telling you stories in Tamil. Please do come and listen and share this with your friends. Subscribe to our channel if you have not subscribed yet. Tata!